my God. It's okay to be funny. It's okay to say things like, I'm excited. I love that. Good for you. It's okay to use Gen Z's jargon. It's okay to be funny. B2B content does not have to be boring.
I wish I would have been on that other end and I would have said it. It would have become like this blockbuster thing. You can.
Oh my goodness, Siddharth, the amount of people who need to hear this, I think is absolutely unending. Like, I don't want to go on your website and learn about your technical terms and conditions. I want to learn about how you can help me in the easiest way possible, in the most fun way possible. Man, add a GIF in that email, put a meme on your social media. What is the point if I get the information, but for some reason I can't relate to you? I'm not going to buy your product.
One, two, three, four.
Welcome to Ads and Tales, the podcast where we explore tales from the world of B2B ads. This is your host Sid, and I will bring you the insights, experiences, and strategies from those who have been in the trenches to help you excel in your marketing efforts. So sit back, relax, and join us for some great tales from the world of B2B ads. This is Ads and Tales.
No, episode 2 already, and I am trying to keep calm about this one. I'm clearly failing to do so because it is a topic which is very close to my heart, and I really feel about it. And I'm really glad to have a guest who feels equally about this topic. We're going to talk about content, and we're going to talk about the marketing of content separately. So, what we call it is content marketing. So, we'll talk about content, we talk about marketing. So, welcome, Nessica.
Hey, hi Siddharth. I'm really glad to be here. I'm really glad to get a chance to talk about the things we usually talk about, but in a more formal setting. So yeah, really excited,
Yeah.
man.
I hope it remains as casual as we are about chatting content, about chatting marketing in general. So, to give you an introduction, Nessica has been to half the world or full, I don't know, the complete globe in some way or the other. She started her marketing journey from Narsimunji and felt that it was not enough and went to Edinburgh and did some marketing, studied marketing again, and eventually came back to India and for some weird reason has thought about doing B2B marketing and doing a killer job at it. So I'll let her take the reins from here and understand why B2B marketing and what has been your journey. So yeah, Nessica, over to you.
Oh God, when you say it like that, it just makes me realize that I have done far too many things to actually to actually fixate on the one thing that I have. But yeah, Siddharth. Essentially, it's been this way. I actually started with a bachelor's in pharmacy. So in Narsi Monji, we had a dual degree B.Pharm and MBA. That's what I did. My MBA was also with a specialization in pharmaceutical technology. We had a lot of marketing oriented subjects there, but again, in the context of pharma, realized that I really love marketing, always ended up scoring well in the marketing topics. Decided that, 2 degrees weren't enough. Thought that let's go and do a little more studies. Decided to then go to Edinburgh to do my master's in international business and emerging markets again. Weirdly decided that 2 degrees weren't enough, but also didn't want to do 2 more years for a third degree. So chose a 1-year program of masters in the UK. It was really great. We got to learn a lot. I got to see a lot of practical perspectives of probably all of the things we've done in theory. In fact, I think doing the MBA in India gave me a very good bouncing board to actually do the practical projects there. Realized even further that I liked marketing some more. Because ideally, if you would think of my career trajectory, one would think maybe consulting in healthcare, maybe in like a big four or an MBB or something of the sort. But I chose to go a completely different direction. And when I say a completely different direction, I think you are the best person to know about that. Came back in around the end of 2019. Started looking for jobs here because I didn't want to remain in the United Kingdom, which is weird, but yes, me. And I think after that, in the middle of the pandemic, there was a bit of an issue with finding jobs because all of the companies were shutting down, closing up shop. and trying to cut costs. But eventually I joined an HR consulting firm as a marketing professional, which has nothing to do with international business and pharmacy. And after that, I worked in a tech startup which had a decent focus on AI and on building an AI-based product. And now I'm working in a compensation management software company as a marketing professional. So safe to say it's been a journey, but I think the one thing that's been very constant has been marketing. So yeah, here we are.
And I'm sure a lot of people will say glad that you chose the marketing side of things and not pharma. One,
Please
because you're
introduce
good
me to
at
those people.
yeah. One, because you're good at marketing. Two, because I don't know what the hell you would have done if medicines were in your hand.
Very good point. But also, side note, I have a license, a pharmaceutical license.
Oh, you have a career to fall back upon in that case.
Yes.
In case
In
this
case nothing works out, we will open the
Yeah.
shop. But marketing is going well, so I have high hopes.
Yeah, 100%. It is going absolutely brilliantly, and I know from a fact that people you worked with in the past definitely miss whatever you did there, whatever magic you had worked up there. But let's get on to the basic topic of the discussion. So
Sure.
content marketing. I know you have a flair for content, and you have a tone that you like, and you have a the personality that like to bring out, whether it is personification of the product or it is personification of the brand Nessica that you are trying to create now. So let us break that content marketing down into the content and marketing, as I had said earlier. How do you think about content marketing? Is it from buyer stages? Is it from some other aspect? So you tell me how you think about it.
So, Siddharth, for me, I think of content in the most basic of ways. Whatever will attract the attention of the customer. Maybe this sounds one-sided, maybe it doesn't. But I ensure that all of my content, everything that I create for whichever company I'm working for or whichever client I have as a freelance gig, I ensure that this content is something that is A, useful to them, B, makes sense to them, and C, will help them get the information they need so that they can consider my product or service as the product or service of choice. And that's always been the aim of my content. And in terms of tone, if you know me, if you've spoken to me, I'm that kind of a person who likes to add a lot of wit, a lot of wordplay, and a lot of puns into my content, given that the audience will also understand it. So I think if the two things meet, I also like to ensure that my content isn't boring. I make it a point, in fact, I push myself a little bit if I tend to forget sometimes in the corporate jargons of sincerely and best and yours truly and regards. So I try my best to, add a GIF here and there and to try and make the content that much more personable to my target audience, whoever or whatever it may be. So that's usually the kind of, mantra I follow when it comes to content.
Yeah, I've been at the receiving end of your yours trulies, the different yours trulies that you've given across in our knowing of each other. But if we go further down into what we call the B2B funnel, there is in what we talk about is, so the last episode I was doing was about ABM, and the person I was interviewing was so keen about the lack of TOFU, MOFU, BOFU, as we call it, because he felt clearly that there is no TOFU, MOFU, BOFU, because you don't know where the person is entering your funnel. So what are your thoughts on content for each side of the funnel? Is it different? Do you say things differently? Do you say different things? So just break it down for me.
Okay, so I have to maybe slightly disagree with guest number one. So for me, definitely, I mean, if you think about it, right, every customer, like he mentioned, in fact, goes through some kind of a journey before they come to the decision of buying your product. Now, you will go on Google, you will find, I don't know, 7, 8, 10, n number of steps in this buyer journey, each with its own touch points, with its own content strategy, with its own targeting, etc., etc. But for the sake of this conversation, I think for anybody who wants to have a quick fix or a quick solution into building their content strategy, we can just follow the rule of 3. Now, in my mind, I'll explain to you what that is, because that's how I simplify it for myself usually. Is a customer, before they buy a product, will go through 3 stages. One is the awareness stage, one is the consideration stage, and one is the decision stage. Nothing in the middle, problem aware, nothing. We don't have to worry about anything. We just have to think about these 3 things. Now, what happens in these 3 stages? In the awareness stage, they don't know what the issue is. They don't know what the pain point is. So you are using your content to inform them what the pain point is. In the consideration stage, now they know. They know that this is an issue. Obviously, with every issue that comes in, there has to be a solution to the issue. So in this stage, now you're trying to give them a solution to said issue. You're giving them n number of solutions that exist, some more easily obtainable, some a little difficult to obtain that may require more than one step. And then finally, you come to the decision stage, which, as it exactly what the word means, is you are essentially trying to convince your audience to take a decision on the fact. So once they know what all solutions are available, you are now using this final and maybe the end stage before the purchase to tell your audience why you should decide to choose your product over anybody else's. So that's how I look at it. Very simple. 1, 2, 3, ABC. Tofu, mofu, bofu, essentially.
No, no. I've seen a lot of people overcomplicate content in the sense that let's talk about XYZ thing that will impact us in 3 months' time, or let's talk about this because it is hot right now, not just because we should talk about it. So I've seen both ends of the spectrum in the people that I've worked with, but this is very simplified. If you follow the strategy, you'll hit somewhere. I don't know where you'll hit, but you'll hit home to a large chunk of, let us say, the people you want to target.
Absolutely.
So simplicity sales is a very difficult marketing tactic to implement, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Siddharth, I think you and I have worked in enough situations and with enough people to know the fallacies of complicating things. Where I think everybody wants to do 10 things at once, and 9 out of 10 things are usually because they're on trend or because some competitor is doing it. And the competitor may or may not be directly related to us also. So we just kind of end up doing it because it seems cool to us. And it's the problem of many, right? We're doing too many things and we completely lose focus on the one thing that we maybe should have been doing since the very beginning. So I think that I think you and I are no strangers, I would say, to that.
Yeah,
policy.
that is why I brought this question up, no, and that is why I want to segue into a very hot topic also right now, because we are talking content, and while talking content, we don't talk about Chat GPT and AI. It will be unfair. So, what are your thoughts on the advent of Chat GPT, or the lookalikes of Chat GPT, in other words, and how is it impacting the world of content? How do you see it going forward?
See, the TLDR is I love it. I am in love with AI. I love the fact that it's come in. I love the fact that ChatGPT brought that wave of AI in there. I don't see the problem that people on social media, LinkedIn namely, I would like to give a special call out to LinkedIn and Twitter because this is where the conversation happens. Talk about how AI is going to replace humans or AI is going to replace content marketers. I absolutely do not think that. And I feel the people who do, and this might be a hot take if you want to maybe consider that, but I feel like the people who do will get left behind. If they rebuff, if they completely do not pay any attention to any kind of AI tool and decide to go the traditional way that they have been going, they will become obsolete. Siddharth, I completely and truly believe this. But at the same time, I think that the people who do learn, try to figure out what's happening in the AI world, try to incorporate AI into their workflows and their processes, they're going to have a ball of a time. They're not just going to be successful, they're going to be sought after. People are going to want to hire them, are going to want to work with them, or if they're freelancers, they're going to want to be their clients. I have tried, in fact, like I said, the organization I was working with before I shifted to the company I'm working at now used to delve very heavily in AI. In fact, the product we were creating was an AI-based product. It was built on the open APIs of OpenAI itself, which is essentially the parent company of ChatGPT. And can I tell you, Siddharth, the kind of capabilities and functionalities it had absolutely blew my mind away. The mundane tasks you would have as a marketer get so beautifully taken care of by AI in an accuracy that you as a human being would never be able to accomplish. So what's happening there is the thinking is still my own. So the thoughts are my own, the processes are my own, the outline is my own. But the essentially the grunt work, the operational tasks are being taken care of AI. And what a wonderful world that is to live in. Can you imagine the possibilities of that? I am doing things at probably a 3x, 4x speed. I am delivering the same quality, if not better, at maybe 1/3 or 1/4 the time. So yeah, absolutely in line with AI being the norm. I have tried the products. I've used WordTune, I've used Writer, I've used this new product called Byword. So yeah, I'm a little bit of a curious learner / tester myself. Play around with prompts, do some good prompt engineering, figure out which people are talking about AI, join those Discord groups, join those Slack groups. I am where the conversation is, so I do know how amazing this is going to be. And honestly, I feel like people need to be as excited as me because it's really going to change the way you approach not just content marketing, but marketing in general.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. In fact, I think I put it out on LinkedIn also some time back about this analogy between calculator and the AI nowadays. That when calculator was invented, it was the mathematicians who were running around that will become non-relevant in this world. But the best mathematicians are the ones who figured out how to use the calculator to their advantage.
Absolutely.
And that is absolutely applicable in the world of marketing. So the best marketers, in my opinion, or even if we slice it out and say that best content marketers will be the one who figure out how to use ChatGPT better than the ones who are not using it or just using ChatGPT for that matter.
Definitely, 100%. I mean, honestly, Siddharth, if you ask me, this can be a podcast episode on its own. And if you want, I would be happy to volunteer as a guest for that as well. You can have a panel. In fact, I know there are many people who would love to talk about that. So yeah, I'm also simultaneously giving you some ideas for the next episode.
I am noting that down for a future episode with you and blocking your time.
For sure. Because no, I feel like more people need to talk about this. So yeah, in a way, I'm really glad that you brought it up, and I would love to, talk about it with you in detail, definitely sometime in the future.
So coming back to the funnel that we were talking about, I thought let's do a practical exercise and we'll both contribute to it and put something in there. Let's put ad momenta in there and say how do you draft content for ad momenta? Now this can be top of the funnel, bottom funnel, middle of the funnel. How do you go about it? How do you look at it? And as you would already know, putting information on the table is that we are targeting B2B marketers who have products that they want to take out to the market to B2B organizations that can help these organizations either save time or money, which is basic tech products. So over to you. Let's do this.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, I love this. This is an amazing idea, by the way. I think more people should probably, try to bring in these practical examples. Now, I love that you touched upon that because that is actually the first thing I would do. Before talking about anything with regards to content, I would literally ask some foundational questions which are essentially brass tacks for any content marketer or content strategist to know about, which is who is your target audience? What do you aim to give this target audience? What should be their achievement by employing Ad Momenta as a client service provider? So, figuring out probably where your audience is, what your audience is talking about, and all of those basic things, because I feel like that's very important for a content marketer to know before they actually delve into the content creation. And from a more fundamental basis, I would also get to know one, two things like, what is the tone of voice you want to take to the market? What is the kind of persona you want Ad Momenta to have, when you're going outside and making these conversations, so on and so forth. So this not only gives me an idea of who your target audience is, but also B, who you want to be to your target audience and how you want to show yourself to them. Both of these things come much before I actually start drafting any kind of strategy or any kind of content. Because when there is a back and forth between, say, me and you, when I'm creating content for you, and there will be, we know that there will be, it's very important to have these basic things in place so we don't have to actually touch over these things, at least, and speak more in terms of stratagem and more in terms of topics and more in terms of, how we want to go to market. So once I think we know this, then we start talking about the actual content of it. Now, like I said, right, in the most simplest way possible, I will stick to my TOFU, MOFU, and BOFU, my top, my middle, and my bottom of the funnel. Once I figure out where my audience is, mostly since it's B2B decision makers, based on certain assumption, I know for a fact that they would either be on LinkedIn or on Twitter, mostly on LinkedIn. I will figure out where they are, what kind of groups they join, are they on Slack channels, so on and so forth. Just kind of enter into the conversations there. See what kind of questions they're asking, see what kind of pain points they have. Most of these companies, because they aren't able to develop talent in-house, are working with an agency externally. What kind of issues they are having with the external agency that you can solve for? And what is a pain point that kind of gets repeated through the process? Now, once you find a pain point for these B2B marketers that gets repeated through the process, you know that is a pain point now you as a service provider can harp on. That gives you your TOFU, essentially. And I don't know, pick a pain point, so that since you know Ad Momenta best, pick a pain point that most clients have from B2B marketing agencies.
Content is one, that we are not doing relevant content. One other is we are not attracting the right audiences. So this is more from a performance marketing point of view also. And if we club all of this, we usually say that it's kind of an ABM approach. So we are not able to reach the people that we want to reach, and therefore not able to have conversations that we want to have. This is the biggest pain point.
Absolutely. So it's either relevant conversations to irrelevant people, or irrelevant conversations to relevant people, or just absolutely a mix of the two, which is in shambles. So what now you as a company, or you as a founder of Ad Momenta would do is start talking to your audience about not how you should do it, but why it is important. So that's what we talk about when we say TOFU. In TOFU, you're never telling them the process. In TOFU or in top of the funnel content, you are explaining to them that there is an issue, and you are creating some FOMO around the issue. FOMO is, of course, fear of missing out. We all know that. What you're telling them is that this is a problem and that people are facing the problem, and you, as a founder of a company that can help, are doing the initial job of acknowledging the problem. Then you move on to middle funnel content. Now, essentially in middle funnel content, you start breaking down the problem a bit better. So if the problem is you not being able to reach right people through performance marketing, you've already told them what is wrong and what they're doing wrong. But now you start telling them more about how people can do it right. So now you start talking about, say, from a performance marketing perspective, you start talking to them a little bit more about how they can improve their targeting. You probably start putting a targeting tip or two in there. You start putting in certain solutions around tools that they can use. Maybe there's a Chrome extension that helps them. Maybe there's a free tool or a software that can help them. So what you're doing now is, after you've acknowledged that there's a problem, you are also now positioning yourself slowly as an authority who is best placed to solve the problem. In the middle of the funnel, you are still not teasing your product yet. You are still talking about how you know best. So essentially, how the whole adage in the movie Tangled is Mama knows best. So here Siddharth knows best, essentially, is what you're trying to do. You're trying to tell them that you know everything there is to know about this particular problem. Now, when you move to bottom of the funnel, it becomes that much easier for them, because as an audience, I have seen you acknowledging I have an issue. I have seen you giving me solutions to that issue. So now in my mind, you are the first person who I think of when I think of somebody I need as a solution to that issue who is not me. So until I can do it myself, I do it myself. But once the problem becomes too big, I now need to rely on somebody externally, and that is you. And here in the bottom of the funnel content, here you start talking about how Ad Momenta works specifically to solve that problem. And then you bring in examples, because I think the best way to prove anything is social proof, is to show that you've done it for other people before you've done it for yourself. Or even if, and I always say this because there is a very high possibility that people sometimes have not had any clients. Maybe this is the first client you're trying to acquire. And this is, of course, we can probably break this conversation into a separate conversation later on. But essentially show them proof from your own work. So you must have worked for a company before you decided to freelance, or before you decided to go out on your own. You've probably brought success to your own company in the same way. Maybe you can't reveal all of the data, which is fine. But you can still give them a very, very solid example of the exact process you followed in your company to help them achieve that goal. And if you've already had clients, it's very simple. You can just tell them about how you did it for another client, which, as we know, is a case study. And break it a little more further, and you get feedback from them, and that's a testimonial.
You've almost nailed it to the head. The only thing that I will add to this is, whatever you said, I'll make an ebook of this and push that out as a TOFU.
Go for it.
This portion of the podcast. So thank you for cutting it down in slices as minutely as possible. And as I said, this will be an ebook. I will tag you in that ebook. Okay?
Oh, for sure. If you decide to sell it, I would like some royalties, good sir.
Yeah. We'll get into a contract and royalty and stuff also. I promise you that. Okay. Now, since the content is sorted, you've given a breakdown of what is top of the funnel and how you move people down to the middle and then to the bottom. One term that currently that I'm liking a lot is towards the marketing side of content marketing. It's called DREAM. And DREAM is the short form or acronym for Distribution Rules Everything Around Me.
Okay.
Right. So this is marketing side of content, and this is one problem. One kind of a problem that I've seen with a few people I've worked with is they do a good content, they do a lot of content, but no one reads them, or only 2 people read them, or 20 people read them. wherein in fact 200, 2000, 20,000 people could read them. And therefore, distribution is another segment of content that a lot of people don't undertake. What are your thoughts on that? How do you think you do it? And is it relevant or not? I feel it is super relevant, but I love your thoughts on that.
Yeah. My first answer is yes. Distribution is something that is absolutely necessary and people ignore, which is sad. Like, I have spoken to so many people who think the answer to content marketing is just putting out more content. Whereas that is not true. The answer is literally taking a step back, reviewing all of the material that you have, and figuring out a better way to show it to your audience. I would like to sort of pull in a plug on this person. His name is Justin Simon. He is a, you could say, creator influencer on LinkedIn, and he talks very heavily about content repurposing and content distribution. So, just as a side note, if anybody wants to learn a little bit more about how to do it well, he has a lot of nice set processes, set templates, and he also talks about it a lot. So, like, that's just a little side note I thought I should mention. But aside from that, I myself take a lot in terms of, learning the art and the science of distribution. It's not very difficult. But once you do understand how to do it, what is the best way to sort of distribute your content in general, I think as a content strategist, you've hit the absolute gold mine. Because it takes away so much of effort and so much of hard work from you as a content marketer. Like, instead of putting 2 blogs a week or 3 blog posts a week, I'm putting 1 detailed blog post a week. And then I have a YouTube video that comes from it, a podcast episode that could come from it, a series of social media posts, a series of Twitter threads that could come from it. So I think it's all about thinking about your content strategically in a way that you know that this content is to be distributed. So I'm not blindly writing a blog post anymore. I'm picking out specific questions that I need to answer that my audience is looking for. Those specific questions can now become an Instagram or a LinkedIn carousel or a Twitter thread. Those specific questions can become a short on YouTube or a reel on Instagram, whatever. Those can, the entire story of it, or maybe a part of, or maybe a portion of the blog post where you have experiences coming in from a professional becomes a very, very exclusive piece of a newsletter in an email. It's all about starting from that one point of information dense content and then breaking it down into easily digestible pieces of content. I think people completely forget about that, and people make something entirely new for LinkedIn, something entirely new for Instagram, something entirely new for Twitter, and then they have a blog post, but for some reason the YouTube video is a completely different topic and they're just increasing their work. The answer to the answer to having a good content strategy is not more content, essentially. The answer to having a good content strategy is doing more with existing content. That's what I say.
I'll plug this piece on LinkedIn and have it repeated again and again. Try it once, distribute forever is the motto.
Yes. Put it in the DMs, send it to everybody you know.
Correct. This 15-second clip will be there everywhere. Okay, we've talked a lot about content, so I'll just tip off outside of the content into the larger marketing thing. So I know you're working at a very early stage organization who's like super ambitious on goals. But if you were to eventually you will be leading the team at the marketing team inside the organization, who do you think should be the first hire when you are looking to hire as a marketing person, as the CMO, as the founder, whoever you want to consider? Who should be the first marketing hire?
Honestly, funny enough, since it's a B2B, and this does not, I would like to preface this by saying there is no bias because I am a content marketer, but I would hire a content marketer first. They would be my first marketing hire for sure. I think, honestly, though, if you ask me, it's a simultaneous choice between two. So I would hire somebody for content marketing and I would hire somebody for growth and demand gen. So there would be like an equal split between the two. But if you said that one person who you had to hire would be content first for sure.
Yeah. So your answer is you'll ask for more budgets.
Basically. I will do the impossible and try to achieve it.
No, but I agree with you. I will also be tilted towards the content side of things. Just because that is where you lay the base, and then your demand gen growth professional can use that as an engine to, put in the fire and have it burst up.
Absolutely. See, Siddharth, again, brass tacks, right? It's B2B marketing. In B2B marketing, the basis of everything, your North Star metric to get a customer is showing them that there is return on investment for the purchase that they're making. Return on investment in terms of time saved, efficiency improved, productivity improved, whatever it is. You can pick the sub metrics, but at the end of the day, it's ROI. And to show them ROI, you can't have those cookie cutter ads which are talking about, I don't know, emotions and desires, and probably have like a superstar in them with absolutely zero base. There has to be some content strength for them to get this information, because at the end of the day, whichever buyer you are reaching to in B2B content is not thinking from their heart. They're thinking rationally. They're thinking, A, will it make me, will it help me? Will it help my company? And maybe from a little more emotional side, will it make me look good in front of probably my seniors if I implement this? And all of those things will not come unless you have the content in place that shows them that this is something that you can positively achieve. So, before I would, spend money on the performance and the demand, and I would definitely first spend money on getting these bases right.
Perfect. That is 100% true, and I'm in absolute agreement with it. And which is why I moved to the last part of this podcast, which is like a question which I like to tease the people who are in here sharing their thoughts with, which is your one controversial opinion about B2B marketing, and you can be as off the script as you want, because it has to be a controversial opinion, which a lot of people agree with, but you don't. Off to you.
You can use memes. Oh my God. It's okay to be funny. It's okay to say things like, I'm excited, I love that, good for you. It's okay to use Gen Z's jargon. It's okay to be funny. B2B content does not have to be boring.
I wish I would have been on that other end and I would have said it. It would have become like this blockbuster thing.
Oh my
You can-
goodness, Siddharth, the amount of people who need to hear this, I think is absolutely unending. Like, I don't want to go on your website and learn about your technical terms and conditions. I want to learn about how you can help me in the easiest way possible, in the most fun way possible. Man, add a GIF in that email, put a meme on your social media. What is the point if I get the information, but for some reason I can't relate to you? I'm not going to buy your product.
I have never been so much agreement with the person who I'm interviewing for this podcast, but I don't know what to say. I am in absolute, and I'm like raising my hands and doing this because this is superb idea and superb advice on your end. Please tell a lot more people about it, and just convince them that it is possible. I don't know what else to say. I'll just sign off on this end. That and thank you for making time to be here. I know there are 100 other things going on where you work at, but it was very kind of you to take 30-40 minutes of your time and share what you've learned. And I resonate a lot with how you think, what you think, and I've told you that in person, but putting it on record that I am in resonance with a lot of your thoughts. We disagree sometimes, but that's okay. that's also good.
The
So
science student in me
we
feels
log
like
off,
talking. Yeah, no, I was saying the science student in me feels like talking about those tuning forks that are always in resonance. But I'm going to stop
yeah.
and I'm going to let you finish this.
So this science and marketing concept just takes over me. In fact, I'm recording another episode on the science and marketing linkage, especially physics. So that will be
Oh, that's
another one. But
amazing.
before,
I'm
yeah,
definitely looking forward to that.
but that's on the other side of this. But before we log off, any last parting message for the to be listeners of this new podcast called Ads and Tales, and where they can find them, where they can find you in case they want to connect, bounce off thoughts, etc.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, look, like I told you before, I think I have been one of the biggest proponents pushing you to start a podcast. So, A, I'm very happy this is happening, and B, I'm extremely happy that I get to be a part of it. This also happens to be my first podcast, so it's very exciting. And to be honest, I really just hope that I've given good insights to people who are listening to this, and something that they can probably, take away as an actionable outcome from here. If not, you can feel very free to contact me. That's how I think I'm going to plug myself there. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I usually comment a lot, reply a lot, and I also post a lot. So Nessica Birwatkar is the name. I think Sid, you'll probably put it in somewhere.
Yeah.
And you can feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. We can have a chat, and I'm very happy to welcome all sorts of conversations. So definitely yes.
Awesome. So just get in touch with Nessica if you want to do anything and everything related to content. And that's it on this episode of Ads and Tales. See you on the other side. Thank you again, Nessica. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.
That's it for this episode on Ads and Tales. For more B2B marketing stories, insights, strategies, tactics, and views, keep listening to Ads and Tales. You can also check out the Ads and Tales newsletter to help you crack the code for B2B marketing. And if you need any help in solving any of your B2B marketing problems, check out admomenta.com. This is your host Sid signing off. This is Ads and Tales.